All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 208 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the KissFAQ message board, and I'm joined today by Marcus Almighty. Mark.
Hello, sir.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hello.
And St. Louis Kiss. Lonnie will be along as soon as he possibly can be. So let's get started with kind of the news and all that crap today. And before I forget, I'm going to mention it straight off the top. Alan Belicia's absolutely stunning and incredible and official Kiss the Originals +1 photo spectacular, and spectacular is not quite the superlative to do it the justice that it deserves. It's absolutely incredible what Alan has put together. If you did not order, you missed the numerous advertisements and appearances on podcasts and did not get a copy. Well, you have an opportunity to win one today, including the poster, and you will have to listen to the show to find out how you can win that. In fact, I am going to say something at some point during the show of how you can do that, and then we'll have a random drawing. We will have a random drawing, let's say, next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And that is, of course, Wednesday, the 24th of October at 6 p.m. Pacific. So that will be the deadline for entering, and I will, of course, tell you at some point during the show how you can enter to win a copy, and it's open to anyone. I will post this internationally in the same mailer that Alan used to send to me. So there you go. If you don't have it, you'll love it, and if you're just trying to score an extra copy to sell on eBay, well, whatever. That's not my problem. All right, so we are going to do, it's Spaceman Eve today. So Ace's album is coming out tomorrow, and we are going to do our quick and dirty review of the album and give our thoughts about what we think about it, whether we think it's as good or better than Spaceman or Anomaly. Yeah, but I have my highly alcoholic drink. But whatever the case, it is coming out tomorrow on the 19th in like 875,000 different versions. I think there's 4 separate covers. There's a digipack, there's a jewel case, there's the Japan version, which still says that it comes with a bonus track that no one knows if that is actually the case or not. Someone's going to probably chime in now in the message for this thread saying, "Oh no, that's an error." May well be. That's the one I'm actually waiting for physically. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it with first impressions of this album versus Ace's previous releases. And then we'll go track by track, and at the end we'll pick a favorite track, a least favorite track, and then give it a grade out of 10. So Mark, what's your initial impression of Spaceman after a few listens, and how many listens have you given it so far?
Well, I'm going to say that I gave it a listen all day. I had it in the car. I did many things today, driving around, doing a bunch of different errands. And I must have listened to the whole album about 9 times. I'm not kidding you. 9 times at least. I listened to it. It was so ingrained in my head at one point, I was just like, okay, I got to stop listening to it. But my overall impression is this. I was surprised how strong it is. I was actually very impressed. I think this album has some very strong songs on it. Some songs that are kind of, okay, right? Really, there's only one song that I didn't really like on this record out of 9, which I think is good. I'll say this will definitely get a ton more play than Anomaly and Space Invader will get. I've already found that I've already grown to this record way quicker than the other ones. And I'm going to go on record to say that this contains some of his best singing that he's done in a very long time.
Wow. That's
okay.
That's pretty hefty.
That's high praise.
That's high praise and hefty rhetoric that you're going to have to back up as we go through this album. All right, Ken, what's your initial impression?
Yeah, well, My initial impression, versus Mark, who listened to it 9 times, and I think we're going to have Lonnie here. I listened to it 1 time through with a little bit of, spot shots of different tracks. So that's where I kind of went with it. But having said that, overall, I think it's pretty solid. I don't think there's any stinkers, I guess you could call them, on the album. Most of them are pretty strong tracks, and I can see a couple of them probably, growing on me. And we'll probably talk more about each individual song, but I think it's not bad. At least even just have one listen.
Welcome, Lonnie.
You just gotta have at least one of us on every episode, so someone can interrupt people as they talk.
Well, I'm in the middle of it.
You better be careful, because you might have happen to you what happened to Andrew recently, and trust me, you don't want that. So, what are your initial impressions about the Spaceman album, Lonnie?
I was impressed with it, to be perfectly honest. It's good. It's always good to have new Kiss related music, and it's more than Kiss has given us. So it's nice to have. It's a lot more than Kiss has given us. So it was nice to have. I'm pleased with it. On a whole, I mean, I'm sure we'll go track by track here a little bit, but on an overall painting with broad strokes picture, I was very pleased with it. It's very welcomed by me.
All right, so that leaves me, and I am going to say that I am mildly surprised by how much I enjoyed listening to this album today. I pretty much had it on continuous repeat with only a couple of breaks to go listen to some other stuff to figure out where some of this stuff was coming from on the album. And I find it a horrendously consistent album. And maybe that is what was the problem with Space Invader, that it had too much. It was just too long. The first thing that really jumped out at me overall is that the production is an improvement on the sound on Space Invader in particular. I find it much more easy to listen to and enjoyable to listen to, especially when I'm wearing headphones at work so that no one else in my office is tortured with my music. I was also surprised that the singles, Bronx Boy and Rocking with the Boys, fit very well in overall to the album, and I felt, we're going to talk about the songs individually, but listening to the whole album as a single piece of product raised my opinion of those songs from what they may have been when they first came out. So I'm very impressed. I think Ace has done a fantastic job, especially on the production. But I thought he sounded great, and overall the guitars throughout this album are absolutely fantastic. So, without that, and we don't need to talk about the artwork because none of us have received our official copies yet. We can all kind of decide that later, depending on how many copies anyone buys. Let's jump straight in, and let's start with you, Ken, for the first track. And I don't even know these. Without You, I'm Nothing, which is, of course, a Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley collaboration.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this song, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Though I don't see it. It doesn't fit for me as an opener, as the album opener. I would have picked something else. There is something else I would have picked. I'll say what that is when we get to it. But the solo is one of his best solos to me on the album, at least fitting more of a melodic solo in a song like he used to. I think it's one of his better solos. So it sounds good. It's pretty good. Again, I only listened to it 1 time, but it's not my favorite one, but it's a solid song.
Yeah, this is the one I was flipping between other material to go figure out where it was from. And Gene Simmons, shame on you. This is the Rain Keeps Falling bass riff recycled. That the song's been built around. Dun, 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 dun. Which, if I had a bass in my hands, I'd play that riff out right away. But, you know, I just love the sludgy guitars in this. I mean, it's sludgy through the verses and in the background. It's got a great chorus. Love the chorus on it. But the tone on the solo, it's just absolutely exquisite. And, you know, it's like an autobiography, you know, no regrets mentioned. So he's like self-advertising. Right. So very happy with it. I don't know what Gene's contributions are, and you know, that'd be a great kind of interview question. But again, tone of that solo. My only complaint about it is that it drags a little bit at the end, but you know, just very slightly, and that's really looking for something to critique. Mark.
Yeah, well, just really quickly, the way I did this, I went through every song, and I gave each song a rating out of 2. 0 if I thought it was terrible, 1 if I thought it was decent, and 2 if I thought it was great. So this is going to be out of 18 as the final score. So this first song, I really liked it. For once, because usually me and Ken are very simpatico with our thoughts, I actually think this is a good opener for the record. I actually enjoyed it, and that riff that you mentioned, Julian, that do 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 do. The first time I heard it, it reminded me of Free, All Right Now. All Right Now. The first time I heard that, I was like, that's that bass partner. Do, 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 do. It's exactly it, you know, pretty much. I think he ripped off Free. So, but anyways, I agree. A very strong chorus, great singing, awesome guitar solo. This is right away where it kind of made me sit up and go, wait a minute, this might be actually a pretty good record. So I gave it a 2 out of 2.
Awesome.
Nice.
Lonnie.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a decent opener. I liked the way the guitar just kind of, it starts off with just a guitar like that, just a, you know, it's Ace Frehley, you know what I mean? And it starts off with just a guitar like that is a cool opening statement, I thought. I thought it was decent. The solo I was really impressed with the solo. The sound of Ace's guitar, as Julian said, is fantastic. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great opener, great way to kick off the album. Yep. And it's not spacey themed to kick off the album too, which I thought was a nice transition from where we've been. Especially, obviously we've seen the track listing. You know, wasn't a shock to me when I got it, but it was just refreshing to listen to. Like, listen, see what I did there? It wasn't. It was just nice not to open it up with a spacey theme, even though the album name is spacey themed. It was nice just to open up just a regular rock and roll track and not a science fiction type track. So I enjoyed it very much.
So you're going to have a hard time thinking of things to say about the song in this episode.
Damn.
Yeah. You know, it's gone from having a spacey theme to having a Gene Simmons empty platitude theme. When you think of it, opens up with "Without You, I'm Nothing." That is just so Gene, as is of course the title of the song. So, you know, nice. So I'm very binary. It's either yay or nay. There's very little in between. I'm a yay on this track. Let's move on. Number 2, "Rockin' with the Boys," which was the second single, and the brand new video has just been issued from it. Which someone went crazy in iMovie. Not the greatest video I've ever seen, but I guess it doesn't matter. For me, this is Ace's version of Beth. You know, I can't come home. I'm busy. I'm rocking with the boys. But it's grown on me. Once it's in the context of an album rather than a standalone song that I've been listening to since whenever it, you know, was released by E1. You know, it's cheesy, fun, dumb, stupid music. Which, come on, that's Kiss, that's Ace. It's perfect. So following on from, you know, "Without You, I'm Nothing," it's great. You know. It's grown on me. Mark, what about you?
Well, the notes that I put on here for this were that I liked the guitar riffs. They were very good. This is something that I think that's gonna show out throughout the whole record. I think Ace has really stepped up his riff writing on this album. I think it's a lot better than some of the prior records. He's really put a lot more attention into the detail with the riffs this time, I thought. The vocals are pretty good on this. They're not his best. I didn't like how he kind of does that, how he kind of drags certain words, how it's very Ace-ish. And he doesn't do that throughout this whole album. That's the thing I kind of really was surprised about. His singing and some of the songs that we'll get to later is just fantastic and a really big step up from his other singing. And I thought this song was okay. It's not bad. The chorus is really, really catchy. I agree. It's once it enters your brain, you can't get it out. And the lyrics, I put just like what you guys said. I put your lyrics are modern day Beth. So I think it's a good song. It was a decent selection for a second single, I thought. The video I found humorous, like you said. It does look like something that I would have probably done on iMovie, like that quality. But I mean, it got the job done. He has a video out for the song, and it is promoting it, so that's what it has to do. And I gave it a 1 out of 2. So
yeah, and the video didn't cost too much to produce, of course. So
yeah.
All right, Ken.
Yeah, this one, I mean, we've heard it earlier, and so I've heard this one more times than other songs on the album. It's a good song. It's like everyone's saying, it's the rocking version of a Beth type song, and yeah, after a few listens, it kind of sticks in your head a little bit more, the chorus. Though I think there's better songs on this album than that. That stand out for me over this album or this song. So it's a good song. It's a solid song. You know, good guitars.
That's actually one of my other notes here. My last one on the page is it's useful to note neither of the singles are the album's strongest tracks. So again, just my opinion. Lonnie, where's this kind of fit in now that you've heard it on an album versus as a single?
It fits in. I'm in agreement with you guys. It fits in better now that I've heard it in context with the other songs, as opposed to, you know, when we just got it on its own. You know, what somebody on the board compared it to, like Beth with Balls when it first came out a couple of months ago, and I still love that comparison because that's exactly what it is. It's good. I wasn't crazy about it when it first came out, but I'm totally with you guys that it fits in better once you hear it on the entire album. I have no qualms with it. It's, you know, it's good. So I was going to say something else and it escapes me right now, though.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll when I think of it, I'll interrupt you.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking that this one's going to be really good live in concert as a good jam song, a good one to have guests come on with the band to kind of perform, because it's just a really catchy, rousy chorus. You know, it's the Kiss type of chorus. You know, and again, that's another great interview question. Just how much of this song comes from the 1982 demo that was mentioned in Kerrang? You know, that would be what I would like to know. Let's move on to track number 3, which is, of course, the second Gene Simmons collaboration. Or actually, this is pure Gene Simmons, I believe. Your Wish Is My Command, which starts off with a cappella, you know, intro, similar to Eat Your Heart Out on Kiss It. Which one was that one on Monster?
Monster.
Yeah.
The intro just seems gratuitous and out of place for me. Like Gene said, well, we did this on Monster. Why don't you do it? Since I'm gonna tell you what to call your album, why don't you do everything that I tell you? Because of course your wish is my command. Ace.
Ace is like, okay, anything you say, Gene.
Yes, master, I hear and I obey. Wait, you trademarked that, didn't you? Ka-ching. But still, you know, it's different for an Ace song. You know, now he's done something different to start a song. So, again, in the context of the album, it works, even if it's a little bit dorky. It's, for me, this song's about the acoustic guitars that are underlying the electric. It's you could just hear them, as does one little noodly riff that he does throughout, which, you know, I immediately hopped on YouTube to play Insane. It's just got the same little fast guitar bit that Insane has, so which I love that song. So you know, I think it's a good song. You know, I just found myself kind of bopping my head to a lot of these songs today. That they were just, it's like listening to Dress to Kill, in that it's kind of pop. It's got some pop undertones. It's not like listening to Dress to Kill, literally a 1975 makeup album. Come on, I'm not.
Well, I got it. I know what you mean.
I'm not that messed up, but in terms of pop pretension and catchy, tight arrangements, it's all there. My only complaint on this one is that the guitars are a bit buried in the chorus. I would like to hear those a little bit more clearly and kind of up in the mix, but that's just a taste thing. So again, it's in my binary rating, it's a yay. Lonnie, what's your take on this one?
I was disappointed with the song, actually. I was looking forward to this song the most out of any track on the album because Gene had been talking about this song in any interview that he could possibly squeeze it into for the last couple of years, that how he had written a song called Your Wish Is My Command, and it's the next rock and roll all night. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was really looking forward to the song, and I was really kind of disappointed by it, I guess, because my expectations were too high for it. But it's good. It's still a good song. You know, at the very end when he goes abracadabra, I can't wait to play this for my wife because she's gonna roll her fucking eyes and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I can't wait to play it.
Is she going to let you play 3 songs from the album to get there?
No, I'm going to have to start right there. I mean, let's be honest.
Nice. What about you, Mark?
Well, on my notes here, I put, interestingly enough, interesting intro, sounds like a Kiss song from Monster, and I put in brackets, Eat Your Heart Out, because that's right away what it first struck me as when I heard it. Very catchy verse and chorus. I think that, again, hats off to Ace, and obviously Gene for this now, came up with some decent parts for this song. And on this album overall, I thought there's some great stuff on there. Yeah, the guitar parts are a little buried in this mix, but I also kind of got the feeling that that was done purposefully, because since Gene kind of viewed it as the next, big song, all these great big songs usually have the guitars a little bit more back and the vocals a little bit more present to make it that big kind of rousing hit in their eyes, right? Luckily, I didn't have the same problem as Lonnie, because I don't listen to Gene Simmons interviews. I can't stand listening to him anymore. So I wasn't really expecting too much with this song on that level. I just listened to it, and I actually liked it. The thing that caught my ear was that there was a female vocal in there in that background. Obviously, I think it's got to be Ace's woman, isn't it, who's singing in there? Because there is a female voice in there. Clear as day, I could hear it. And I thought that was kind of brave of Ace to put in there. He hasn't done that since, 78, right?
Speeding Back to My Baby, and New York Groove, and the other one, which I always forget the third track, that Susan Collins. Was it Susan Collins?
Susan Kelly? Something.
Larry Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to go and Google that. I don't have that shit running off my brain. So, but yeah agreed. And Rachel can sing, so without a doubt.
Yeah. And the only other thing that's the only thing I put in there at the end. I go that it says interesting that there's a female vocal in the choruses, and I actually really like this song. This is one of the songs on this record that I gave a 2 out of 2 out of. So
nice.
Excellent. Ken, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I like this song, and that's why I thought this should have led off the album. I would have opened the album with the acapella. And you know what? I know there's Eat Your Heart Out, but it's not the same for me. Those are totally different, way different acapella parts. So I know Kiss had done it, but I don't compare it. They're just their own thing. But I would have opened it with this, with the little acapella, and then it kicks in. Because it's not a long acapella beginning to it. So, but having said that, the song is good. I just thought the chorus could have been a little bit stronger, but I like the undertone, throughout the song, the guitars, especially in the verses, the way the guitars are playing, and the sound and the riff that they're using. So, I like it. I'm like Mark, if I rate it on his scale, I'll rate it a 2 also.
Nice. I can just see Gene saying to Ace, I've saved you this song. I didn't put it on the vault. I could have, and you're going to record it, and you're going to call your album Spaceman. And you know how we listen to this album, Monster, I've got this really good idea for you. You've never done it before. You're going to start it with an a cappella. You know, Gene did not get that executive producer credit, did he? I mean, he was obviously maybe.
Oh, he didn't. Yeah.
Maybe, and you're going to go open for us on the End of the Road tour, because of all this stuff I've done for you to help you. You know, Ace. You just wouldn't be there without me.
It's not opening for anybody.
All right, let's move on to Hard Times 2, Bronx Boy. And Ken, let's go straight back to you on that.
Yeah, Bronx Boy. Yeah, this was the first single, and so I've heard this even more times. So, but I like this song a lot, actually. I like it over the second single. I said it before, and I still like it more than Rockin' with the Boys. I don't know, something about it. To me, it's a Hard Times version 2, Hard Times 2 kind of song. And I always loved Hard Times, one of my favorites off of Dynasty. So it's a good song, solid song, and pretty decent solo. Maybe not a memorable, but it's a good solo. He rips into him throughout this whole album anyway. But it's not, it rocks. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Lonnie?
I enjoy it. It's good. I think a good segment of it is Hard Times 2, like Rockin' with the Boys is like Beth. They're very parallel to one another. I liked it when it came out. It was different when it came out again, but I think also listening to it in context with the album, it fits a whole lot more, and it's a lot more, I can appreciate it a whole lot more listening to it within the context of the album. So it's good. The solo is good, like Ken said as well. Very enjoyable, for sure.
Yeah, and my opinion with Rockin' with the Boys has changed on this. I thought it was stupid. It is stupid, but it's stupid fun. And
Ace.
Yeah, come on. I do like the guitars on this in particular. There are guitars, the right amount of guitars, the right balance of different types of guitars that make you just go ace, 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 ace. I mean, you just kind of... It's cool, and it's autobiographical in the sense that now that you know that both Ace and Peter had a thing for zip guns. I mean, that is just so Bronx and Brooklyn from the 60s and 70s, or in Peter's case, the 50s. So, yeah, binary, it's a yay. Mark?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go against the grain here, guys.
No.
This got a whopping 0 for me.
Wow.
I really don't. I've never liked this song at all. I mean, I find that the mix on this song is terrible. The snare drum sounds horrendous on this song. And I've also found that, and this has happened a few times, I think, on this record, where it sounds like some of these songs were recorded at different periods and might have been even mixed at different times, because this mix sounds drastically different from the rest of the songs on the record. I'm convinced that this is probably they mixed this for the single and just used the same mix that they did from the single and just slapped it on the record rather than remixing it and making it more of a cohesive blend with the rest of the album, because I don't find it sits at all. And the lyrics, yeah, they are tacky, but the thing that kind of bugs me about these lyrics are stuff like, I'm a street kid. You're 70 years old. You're not a kid. What are you talking about? I'm a street kid. Like, come on. I've never really enjoyed the lyrics like that. I mean, if you're going to be biographical, great, that's fine. But I mean, come on, you're not a kid anymore.
So that means that there'll be no music if no exaggerations are allowed now.
Yeah, okay, but I'm just saying that he could have made this song just get it. He could have got the same point. He could have got the same point across.
Mentally,
Bronx Man.
Mentally,
there you go, Bronx Man. Yeah.
Flaming Youth and your 3-inch leather heels.
Okay, Flaming Youth, though, look at when they wrote it, though, too, right? That was also in their 20s when they wrote that stuff, too, right? So, but whatever. I mean, nobody has to agree with my opinion on it, but I still think it's a big donut for me.
No, we don't have to agree with your opinion, but we can still harass you.
Yeah,
of course.
Are you new to the show?
It could have been, it would have been better, Mark, if it was produced by Bob Ezrin.
Yeah, there you go. That could have saved it, right?
Maybe.
So you're giving that one a 0 and you're sticking to it. Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective. I mean, is that a technical foul to have just included the same version as the single and not to, in your mind?
Most bands don't do that. I mean, most bands usually take the single and remix it to try to make it part of the same, sounding flow of the record. I mean, didn't you guys kind of find that it kind of stuck out a little bit sonically?
No,
I didn't.
No,
for me, it made me like the song more listening to it within the context of the album. I thought it blended in well.
Now the next time I listen to this album, I'm going to hate the song.
Same here.
I'm going to have
Same
Mark
here.
to thank.
I'm gonna eat my words next time I listen to it. I'm like, actually, that does stick.
I'm gonna have to compare the single version to that version now. So.
Yep. Okay. So have I covered everyone on this one? Because I'm losing track.
Yes.
I'm bouncing around the screen again, and that's never good in my state of mind. All right. The Pursuit of Rock and Roll. Now, I kind of have this one pegged as the leftover from Psycho Circus, that, like the leftover from Psycho Circus re-recorded on Anomaly, has been completely rewritten because Ace couldn't remember who had done what to help him write it back in 1997-98, which I think Sebastian had a bit of it at that time. So, again, without the liner notes, I don't know if this is one of the songs with Anton on drums, but it feels like a leftover. This, it's okay. It's just not. It's kind of the only meh moment for me on this album where it doesn't live up to expectations. It's like got a good AC style throughout, but it feels more like Aerosmith and Falling in Love from Nine Lives, the riff. So, Ken, it's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good. I don't know what I write down here. I wrote that it's good, has riffs are good in the verses. The chorus is okay. It was all right, and the solo was good. But that was about it. I mean, it was okay, and maybe it'll grow on me more. Again, I've heard it only once, so we'll see after a few more times. I mean, usually an album, I mean, sometimes certain songs come out, they're good right away, but some great songs, you need, multiple listens, at least 3 or 4 sometimes, so to really, figure out what they're trying to get across, or what, the chorus really is in the song. So, but it's a good song. It's not bad. Again, it's fine. It may be better later when I hear it more.
Yeah, and I just deciphered my notes actually while you were talking about the song, and I had
you did.
Yeah, good AC solo, but the outro solo is outstanding on this.
Oh yeah, and I thought they should have. That's true. They should have maybe even extended even longer. I would have, liked to have heard where he went with the solo, even beyond. So.
Yep. All right, Lonnie, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. This is the first example of filler, in my opinion, on the album, where it's just kind of okay. It doesn't really stand out to me at all. It does just feel like it's kind of leftover crap. I'm kind of with you on that. Unfortunately, we are getting to the part of the album where I didn't get to listen to it as attentively as I had the other songs because I'm at work and I get interrupted all day. So, but it wasn't.
What, you don't turn around and scream, I'm listening to the new Ace
Frehley. Stand outside my office. Wait till I acknowledge you. So it. But from what I heard and what I remember of it, listening to it today, I tried to listen to the album a couple times, as much as I could anyway. And it was fine, but it wasn't anything that just stood out to me like some of the other tracks starting off the album. So it's okay, but again, it's the first example I think of filler on the album. But yeah. I might have a different opinion when I go back and listen to it more attentively.
Yeah, with any new album, whether it's Kiss, Monster, Sonic, Boom, BK3, it's always, you want to have a conversation with people a couple weeks or months down the road, and then talk about the album again, over a beer, because you can't just get it all off multiple listens in one day. You can't get it off, one listen or 2 listens. You really have to live with it and see what resonates a few days, when you come back to it. So, Mark, what do you think of Pursuit of Rock and Roll?
I thought the riff was pretty good. Again, I agree with you guys that this I put down here sounds like it's Ace's answer to "I Pledge Allegiance" from Psycho Circus. Definitely something that would have been, that kind of stylized writing of it. But I didn't mind it. I mean, lyrically, I think it's if you're gonna think it's cheesy, I don't think it's any cheesier than what Paul wrote for Pledge Allegiance. I think they're on this kind of the same ground when it comes to that. But I think that the playing is really good. I think the performances throughout this record are fantastic. You gotta take your hats off to the people who played on this record. I mean, the bass playing is really good. The drumming is fantastic. And I think Ace does some great guitar playing on here. So I gave this a 1 out of 2.
And that is going to be my main criticism of the album, Mark, and that you just kind of alluded to the playing on the album. It doesn't feel like a band album, and obviously Richie's no longer in the band. And that's something that I really miss, is kind of the answering guitar attacks that were on Trouble Walking between Richie and Ace at the time, or even Todd complimenting Ace, or doing all the guitar work in some cases, on Second Sighting and, the other album. That's something that I really miss as much as I love all of the guitar work on this album. It's just like a little nuance that is gone. All right, so everyone had a talk on that one? Thank you. All right, let's move on to the obligatory Ace Frehley cover song.
Right.
And I want to make it very clear, and I've mentioned this to a few people, so hopefully they've mentioned it. This is not an Eddie Money cover. It was released by Billy Satellite in 1984. So I don't know whether he only heard the Eddie Money version when it was a hit, but it's not an Eddie Money song. He didn't write the thing. Ace kills it. Doesn't matter. This makes everything right that the Joker was wrong on Space Invader. He just kills it. He nails every part of it, and there's a reason why that's a great song in the first place, whether it's Eddie Money or Billy Satellite, because it's a great song, and Ace does a good job and doesn't do much that's very adventurous with it. I would have just preferred a little bit more contrasting backing vocals on the chorus. Just something. It's just 2 single notes, and maybe Rachel wasn't available that day. But again, a great guitar solo, great execution. That is very much a thumbs up. Ace cover again. So, Lonnie.
Yeah, I thought it was a good cover. I agree with it's the obligatory Ace Frehley cover. We have to have one on an Ace Frehley. So but it's good. He did a great job on it. I enjoyed it a whole lot more than I enjoyed the Joker off of the last album. Maybe not as much as I enjoyed Foxy and Freak, but
Fox on the Run.
Fox on the Run. Yeah, I know there's a fox in it somewhere. But,
Sweet song.
But I didn't enjoy Fox on the Run. I probably enjoy Fox on the Run more than I enjoyed this, but it's much better than the Joker was, and I think he did a great job on it. So we all know you have to have an Ace Frehley cover, so he did a great job. He knocked it out of the park. I enjoyed it a whole lot.
Ken.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job with this. I mean, I was, thinking the same thing. Once I heard this, I thought, this is much better than the Joker. The Joker just didn't work at all. I mean, that was a big miss on the last album. But this one sounded good. The thing that I liked is way the song starts off with his guitar coming in, playing kind of a little, a solo coming into the beginning of the song. I thought that was really good. That stood out for me. And, I'm glad that he didn't get too adventurous and basically stick to the song the way it's supposed to be done. And that's why it works. Because, like you said, Julian, it's a well-written song, so don't mess it up. So, yeah, it's good. Good cover.
All right, let's go to Mark, who knows something about recording covers.
Well, this is the song that kind of made me really sit up again. I'll be honest. The first couple times I heard this song, I didn't realize it was a cover. I'm not familiar with this song, to be quite honest with you. So when I first heard this song, I thought, wow, this is really great. This is a really good song. I thought that this is one of the songs from the record that Ace sang absolutely fantastic. I thought that his singing style on this song really hit the nail on the head. I feel, and I put here too, I wish he would sing more like this in this style. He doesn't do those long drawn out nah 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 like he does on a lot of his words. He doesn't do it in this. You know, he sings a lot more melodically on here, and I was really surprised. I went back to the song quite a few times, and I really liked it. And this song would have got it too, if not for one thing. All his playing on here was fantastic. The singing was incredible. The drums are great, but that the guitar solo, it desperately cried out for like a melodic minor guitar solo in there, and he went back to his traditional Ace Frehley pentatonic riffs in there, and I was like, no pentatonic in here. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Not up in here, you don't.
You know, more melodic, you know. And I really think that if he would have did something a little bit more that way and just forgot about his usual, you know, hammer-on riffs that he always does in every solo, then I think this would have been he would have hit it right out of the park. So I give this a 1.5 out of 2. Just a half is only because of the solo.
You docked a couple of points for style. That's okay. You know, I think we just do need to make clear that measuring it against the Joker, we're not starting with the bar set very high, but I certainly feel that this, you know, totally steeplechased it. You know, a massive jump over that one. All right, Mission to Mars. This, for me, is the very best song on this album. So, if you want this, you'll need to tell me in an email what my favorite song on the album was. So,
you have to get this deep into the episode.
Yeah, and you'll also have to find out how by going further into the episode, because I'm a dick. So, what I love about this song is there are parts of it that immediately reminded me of a song on Motley Crue's Saints of Los Angeles, Face Down in the Dirt, with a bullet in my head. There's just like the little bit of guitar backing that makes that song so good. It is apparent in this one for me. And again, my complaint on this song is that the intro jam, I could easily have an extended version of that, because I just thought that was fantastic. Stunning solo. You know, this for me is Paul Punky Frehley. It's a little bit punky sounding, if you think about the Clash and their radio-friendly punk. You know, very kind of in that groove for me. So, you know, Motley was a bit punky at one point, different sort of context, but really, really good song. I mean, it's the only one on the album that I would say would be a 10 out of 10, perfect song for me. So, Mark.
Very interesting, because I don't think it's the best song on the record, but it's pretty strong. I put down that it's interesting that he started the song on a fade in, which is not very common in songs. Nice drumming on here, really good. The riffs are good, but here again, this is one of these songs where I kind of got a little bit of suspicion that something was going on, because the guitar tone seemed a little bit different from the other songs on here. I wasn't so hot on the guitar tone on this song compared to the other ones, but that's minor, I think, criticism of it. And the only other thing that I said on here that was minor as well is that I was so happy throughout this record that he was avoiding the whole space thing. To have it appear here, I was like, oh no, did he have to? We were only 2 songs away from it not appearing at all, you know, and that he put it on here. If he would have just ducked away from the space lyrics, that's minor, but one song I can live with. So I gave it a 1 out of 2.
Okay, it actually started out live as a song called Mission to Bars, but since he's now sober, he had to change it, Mark. And I was just watching my phone, and something popped up with a cool observation about this album, that 6 of the 8 songs that have lyrics all start with the lyric I. So he's obviously going to be performing The Elder in full. So
yes. Great observation.
Lonnie.
I enjoyed this one from what I can remember of it. Again, we're getting into the part of the album where it's a little phasey, a little back and forth. I didn't get to listen to it really as closely as I wanted to. But I'm looking forward to listening to it again, since Julian had nothing but rave reviews for it. So it didn't really.
Why don't you play it while you have dinner?
Right. Oh gosh, yeah. That's what I'm be. That'll be our playlist tonight for pasta night on Thursday night. There's a little Ace Frehley Mission to Mars. I get scolded, but it from what I can remember of it was fine. But I'm interested in listening to it again since Julian had such rave reviews for it, and I'm with you though, Mark. We had to have at least one spacey theme on the album. I mean, come on, we're not going to get through it without at least something like that. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that a song called "Mission to Mars" didn't lead off the album, just because of what we've seen with Anomaly, what we've seen with Space Invader. I was actually surprised that the song called "Mission to Mars" was this deep on the album as far as track listing goes. So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't have a whole lot to say on it, unfortunately, because I didn't get to listen to it as close as I want to, but I'm looking forward to it again.
Okay. Ken?
Yeah, this album, or this song on the album, I thought it was pretty good. It's a pretty good song. I thought the lyrics were, way out there. No pun intended, but they were out there. I thought he should have rewritten the lyrics to something else that's not space themed. I think it would have still been, just as good. So I think it's a good tune. I do agree about the sound of it. To me, I immediately thought it sounded like it should have been on the prior album, Space Invader. It sounded more like that. This song would have fit in perfectly on that album. So maybe it's a leftover from that album, possibly.
Who knows?
So otherwise, it's good. I thought it. What did I write down? I said it was real good and a good solo. A good solo. So I like it, and it may grow more on me. We'll see.
All right, let's go on to track number 8, the last of the lyrical songs, and that is "Off My Back." My observations on this are good guitars on the chorus, but this one doesn't really do much for me. So I think it's the second track that I'll put in a kind of meh category. It's not terrible, it's not dire, it's not garbage, it's just kind of nondescript. It didn't resonate with me yet, so that's one I'll have to see if I like it. It certainly didn't feel out of place in any way on the album. Mark?
I really liked the guitar at the top of this. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this song is the chorusing effect that he had on the guitar. This song I found had elements in it that are not very common in Ace songs. And because of that, I think I kind of gravitated to it a bit more because it offered something a bit different. It wasn't yet another kind of predictable kind of Ace song. Now, not to say that this album is predictable. I really think this is a really strong record. But because he has a song like this on here that has something different, especially on guitar, because that's his main thing, is his guitar playing. Because it has that kind of chorus and different kind of sound to it, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I mean, the singing is decent on this. It's not his strongest sung song, but it's still good. Much better than some of the other songs he's done in the past. And I think the chorus is very strong. I gave this a 2 out of 2. I really enjoyed this song.
Cool. Great to come at it from a different perspective of the things that you note that exist in it that other people may not notice. Lonnie?
Yeah, I don't have much to say.
Oh, you're checked out at this point, eh?
Your honesty is outstanding, and we'll give you a rain check on it.
I'm not going to sit here and bullshit and say, I like the guitars on it. I could sit here and tell you that, but I don't have much recollection of it. I think I got interrupted both times I played the album, and I have no recollection of this song.
So you're just going to agree with what Mark said, which is a very safe thing to do. All right, Ken, let's go to you then.
Okay. This one is, after one listen, my least favorite. Go just through the first listen of the album. I wrote down that I thought the chorus or the song, just didn't really go anywhere for me. That's just the way it went for me. It's not horrible. It's just my least on first listen of all the songs, that's my least favorite. So there you have it.
No, I mean, come on. What's really interested me today is that we're not saying very many bad things about this. There's not a lot of criticism. There's like minor little quibbles, but nothing. No one's spray painting graffiti all over Ace's creation, which is really nice. Now we get to another kind of difficult part of the album. I'm not even going to ask Lonnie what he thinks about Quantum Flux.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have become frightened of Ace instrumentals over the past few years. They've always seemed to be fractured this, fractured that.
Sure.
And they've just become so kind of predictable.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. And I like this. It's the first one in a while that hasn't bored me to tears halfway through, so that I've skipped and gone back to the rest of the album and then eventually been forced to sit through it because I couldn't reach the skip button again. I'd be interested to hear Ace talk about the construction of this one. When you go back to, what was the one on Anomaly, Genghis Khan, or something where he had 895,000 guitar tracks. I'd like to hear about, how he approached this technically, because it sounds fantastic. It doesn't sound overdone. It's got a little bit of elements that you think, oh, I remember that in Fractured 2, or I remember that in Fractured 3, that kind of bring it back to Ace's style of instrumental without being called Fractured Quantum or something absolutely,
Fractured Brain.
Based off that, Fractured Leg. So, as the last song of the album, again, it's in the wrong place for me, because the album shouldn't be ending on this. I know that it's kind of an AC thing to do, to put it on at the end, but this album should be ending on a high rocking note, not on a kind of mellow guitar instrumental. That's, again, just a minor quibble. Other than that, I liked it, and I'm surprised I liked it. It's been a long time since I've liked one enough to actually put together more than 20 words about it. Ken?
Yeah, I like this. I liked it. And I wrote down, and I was thinking about it, that Ace should do a full album of instrumentals. Seriously, like a, prog type album. I think it would be great if he did it, a full album of instrumentals, because he comes up with some real interesting things when he does instrumentals. So I like it from that standpoint. The other thing I noticed about the song, at least the end of the song, he pulled a Kiss Black Diamond at the end of the song, where it does the slow down thing. That's the only thing I really didn't like about it. Like, you didn't have to go there with that. You really didn't have to do that.
But you noticed, you immediately connected it with the first album.
I connected it.
So,
I like the fact that he was giving a nod to that, but I just didn't think he needed to do it. But otherwise, it's they're very enjoyable song.
Yeah, it surely could have ended with a loop like Vinnie Vincent Invasion, right? Or High and Dry. No.
Well, High and Dry.
Yeah, that's one of the best ending ones. Mark?
Well, I gotta say that this is really well done. I think it's actually probably my favorite track on this record, which is very strange because, like you, I didn't like his prior instrumentals. I mean, just Fractured Mirror from '78 was good. I thought that was good, but I thought he just milked that way too much over the years with the part 2 and the part 3, and like, oh god, I was hoping that this wasn't going to be more of the same, and it wasn't. I love the acoustic guitar sound on this. What a great sound. I mean, I'm curious to find out, like tomorrow when I get the proper copy, who engineered this and who was responsible for some of these sounds, because it's just fantastic, the sounds on this album. And I, for one, put down here, right here, this is why I kind of smiled when you mentioned this, Ken. I put here, love the tip of the hat to Black Diamond at the end with the slowed down guitars, because I actually thought that he was smart to do that, because it did connect him back to Kiss, in a way that maybe some people might have forgot. I think when some people heard that, like when I heard it the first time. But that's the thing. When I first heard it, I right away smiled and thought about that record, and I was like, "Wow, okay." That it's funny that 40 years later, he still remembers this kind of ending on his first album, and kind of, tips a hat to it. And it has a little bit of a sci-fi feel to it because of the way that the acoustic guitars sound, and some of his little lead lines that he's done. It sounds like almost he used a little bit of that kind of ARP sound again in there on certain parts. And I think that he took a lot of the strongest parts from his past and put it in, but picked out only the good, strong stuff. That's why I think it turned out so well, this song, that he didn't use any of the, stuff that was questionable and the other stuff. He didn't tip his hat to some of the stuff that people probably wouldn't have cared about. It's really strong. It's well written. Even the title I thought was good. Quantum Flux is a good title for something like this. And I gave it a 2 out of 2. I mean, I would have given it a 5 out of 2 if it was possible. But it's a really good, I think it's a fantastic way to end the record, because it made me always go back and want to listen to the whole album again.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a really passionate review.
It's a hot take.
Well, I was gonna say, well, sorry, Mark, wouldn't you like him to do more stuff like that, and more like a prog type almost album?
I think that if he was to really sit down and focus his head around this kind of writing style, I think it could be good. And another thing I just want to just say really quickly is I think the strongest thing about this record is something that Julian touched on earlier, is that this is not a long record. He kind of took my mentality in here, where I always said that 8 to 9 songs, 40 minutes or so is usually the golden time for a record. I think that if you make it any longer than this, then people start checking out and they don't really pay attention to it as much, I think 9 songs is perfect. If he would have went any longer than this, I think it would have been too long. And it really made me want to go back and listen to the whole thing top to bottom again.
Yeah, it's just a smidgen over 37 minutes long, and poor Lonnie's having to sit there and listen to you say all this good stuff about a song he hasn't even really heard yet. I mean, does that?
There's the drive home.
Yeah, you're just going to want to now listen to it because Mark has sold you on it,
and that's what I'm going to have to listen to it as the drive home.
So let's start.
Your wife is in the car with you.
I love you. She doesn't listen anyway.
So let's start with you, Lonnie, on, from the tracks that you really have kind of heard today, your favorite and your least favorite.
From the tracks I've heard today, just pulling it back up here. I did, probably my favorite song that I can recall is Without You, I'm Nothing. I enjoyed it as a good lead-off track for the album. Like I said, when we first started talking about it, I thought it was great the way it introed the album. It was just a guitar with just him by himself. It's Ace Frehley. And then the song itself is really good. It's very Gene Simmons-y, for lack of better terms. Without You, I'm Nothing is a very Gene title of a song. Like, okay, we're going to work off the title and we're going to build from there. But I enjoyed that probably the most from the songs I've heard. The song I probably didn't like the most was Pursuit of Rock and Roll. It just sounded like filler to me. And most albums are going to have a little bit of filler. I mean, it's not a criticism. You can't hit it out. You're not going to have, you can't hit it out of the park on every song. So that's mine.
Next time I'll be interested to hear from you when you've heard us, Off My Back, whether that bumps Pursuit of Rock and Roll for you, or whether Pursuit does stay in that bottom position. Again, these will be offline conversations that many fans have with one another, in the coming weeks about how the album's kind of sat. And I know it's a very Ace thing to finish an album with an instrumental. I just never have cared for it, Mm-hmm. Ken, what's your favorite and what's your least favorite from the album at this point?
Yeah, it's tough after just to listen. I agree with Lonnie, though. Without You, I'm Nothing is a real good song. I do like Your Wish Is My Command too, a lot. And Rockin' with the Boys and Bronx Boys Bronx Boy was really good. So, and I've heard that more. So maybe these, like I said earlier, the more I listen, I'm gonna probably have a definite best song. But the least song, again, is the Off My Back is the one that I just didn't, that could change also. But right now it's not the one for me.
Fair enough. So I've already mentioned my favorite song on this album. So if you want to win a copy of Alan's incredible originals photo book, originals plus one photo book, official licensed KISS product now, congratulations again, Alan, email me at KissFAQ@outlook.com and just tell me what my favorite song on Spaceman is, and we'll do a random drawing. Did I just screw that up?
You almost said Space Invader, I think.
I probably did because there's too many damn space titles. But email me at KissFAQ@outlook.com with my favorite song on this album, and I will do a random drawing at 6 p.m. on October the 24th. So all entries must be in, and I will send this anywhere in the world for you, and you'll also get my notes from today's show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm treating you like a garbage can. All right, So my least favorite is, of course, Pursuit of Rock and Roll at this point. And maybe I'm just disappointed, as kind of a song that we had heard about from the Psycho Circus era. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Rock and Roll was its title back then. And then I think there was Life and Liberty, and then we get down to this, and it's just like, really? Just, but again, as I noted earlier, rewind if you want to hear what I said about it, it wasn't all bad. There is nothing on this album that is dire, that is embarrassing, that makes me just shake my head at Ace's creativity. And I think that's what impresses me the most about this album, that it is really a very consistent album. Yeah, it's got a couple of low troughs for me personally, but it is an incredibly consistent album. It's very, very well arranged. And the recording quality, I think, is excellent. Again, Mark mentioned, that he'd like to know who, did some of the work on it, because some of the elements that are present on the album, it's just not as bloated as some of his previous recent solo albums. It's short, it's concise, it's just, it's not like light beer either, so not too much has been trimmed off it. It's a whole lot of rosy. Good stuff.
I call it diet beer.
Diet beer. Training water. All right, so Mark, you get to have the last word here.
Well, for the longest time, my favorite was I Want to Go Back, but I have to say that my favorite song off this record is going to be Quantum Flux. It's just the song that every time I hear it, I have not gotten anywhere near bored of it at all. And like I said, being a songwriter myself as well and constructing records, this is the kind of a closer that people strive for, the one that makes you say, wow, this is awesome, I want to listen to the record again. If you can write a song like this, then you've won half the battle, because you're making people listen back to the music again. So Quantum Flux has my vote for the best song. My vote for the least favorite song on here has got to be Bronx Boy. I've never really liked it from the first time I heard it. And like I said, that's even with that said, I think Bronx Boy is still better than a lot of the stuff that he did in his past. I think this whole record overall is extremely strong, and I give it a double thumbs up overall. I mean, I've never been big on Ace Frehley solo stuff overall. Just 78 has always been my favorite, but this is really a strong outing.
Yeah, and that's amazing to kind of be thinking in this ballpark. Again, we'll talk about it 6 months down the road, maybe when Ace is opening for KISS on the end of the road tour. We can say, well, you remember that album Ace put out before? What did you think about it then? So overall, I'm going to give this a ranking of 8 Space Cadets out of 10.
Wow.
No KISS-related album, I think, is ever perfect. So 8 is definitely... I think a very fair score from me, and about how much pleasure I've had listening it throughout the day. I'm looking forward to all these multiple versions start coming in the post from England, and from the orange spacesuit cover version coming in from the independent record store, the purple vinyl. This Jesus Christ.
Definitely taking a page out of KISS's book to put as many different versions out there as possible.
Just wait till Record Store Day. I bet they've got something in the pipeline for then. I mean, maybe a live plus 4 EP like they did back in 88.
They haven't announced anything yet. I have the list, but
isn't Record Day not until 2019? So
November. No, there's November. The next month there's the Black Friday Record Store Day.
Well, no doubt one of these counts. So overall, what was your score, Mark, for this album?
The funny thing is, when I tallied it all up, I got a score of 12.5 out of 18, which doesn't seem very good a score compared to how much I like it. And when I tallied it up, it came up to like 70%. But it's funny. I mean, maybe just the whole scoring system is something to be desired here. But I think that the record overall, in my opinion, I would have put it like 90% at least. It's like I said.
I think you need to start dishing out some more twos then. If you're giving it a 90%, come on.
But that's the thing. I think the zero heard it obviously from Bronx Boy, and there were a couple of songs that had just ones in it too. But I mean, you got to look at it from that perspective, though. I mean, a 2 is like a standout track, and there was quite a few of them on here. I had at least 4 of them that were complete standouts, in my opinion. And a 1 isn't a bad thing. I probably should have did it like out of 5. That probably would have been a more accurate way to have done it. But
well,
overall,
here, let me delete the show. And we can redo it.
Yeah, let's just start over then for Mark.
But it's a great record. I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome, Ken, and you're on mute.
Yeah, you're muted, big guy.
You're still muted.
I am sorry. I'm
There he
sorry.
is.
Sorry. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. I don't know the rating. It's kind of hard. I'm just gonna say 7.5 out of 10 just for now. And it'll probably go up. I'm thinking after a few more listens.
Yeah, so, I mean, there we are. I mean, the general consensus is well done, Ace. Congratulations on a fantastic album. And to E1 for the multiple versions that you forced us to buy. I mean, I think that's pretty good marketing in this day and age. I'm really interested to see where this one lands on the charts. When is it? Will it be next week that it's eligible for charting? I don't know. But I think it's probably going to be Ace's highest charting solo album. Because of the number of versions that are being sold, because of the positive general response to the album, and because of Gene Simmons, because of his involvement in the album, it's an additional selling point for the 5 or 6 extra fans who are going to purchase it just because they didn't realize that Ace is no longer in KISS and hasn't been for 20 years. I think Gene is a selling point, so I think that'll be positive.
Sure.
And Ace is doing much better, I think, on the publicity rounds. I mean, he was on Fox the other day morning playing with his new band, so he's out there. He's been doing some long interviews, and one popped up today. So let's leave that there. The KissFAQ podcast panel of today approves of Spaceman 100% and will recommend it. Remember, email me my favorite song to get in the drawing for a free copy of Alan's Originals +1. And maybe next week we can do the topics that we were going to do for this week's topic before I decided we were going to talk about Spaceman at the last minute, Wasn't going to do an episode, so...
Julian calling audible on us today.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about Paul's changing the acoustic thing on the cruise, and Paul this and Paul that. It was all going to be about Paul. Instead, it's about Paul Frehley. So, didn't really bait and switch too much. But for now, we appreciate you watching. As always, like us on iTunes. We are now on Spotify with everyone else, since they've made it easier for podcasts to get on there. So thank you wherever you listen to us. We appreciate it. But from Mark, from Lonnie, from Ken and myself, thank you for now, and we shall see you next time. Take care. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.